Hi, my friends. This is Lada from astrolada.com, and this is your weekly horoscope for the first week of April 2019. And today I'm going to take you on an epic story. There is a adventure happening in the skies. In the constellations is a mythological story being played out that is emphasized by the new moon, and I'm gonna tell you that story. And the same mythological stories that are happening up there in the skies are reflected in our everyday lives, are reflected in our souls and hearts. So I'm gonna take you through that story, and it's very inspiring, and you're going to notice the same things that start happening for you, because this new moon is going to set the tone for the whole month ahead, because it's a new moon in Aries. Of course, Aries indicates new beginnings, and those new beginnings can impact us for a long time. And also, I consider this month, starting from the beginning of April, quite sacred. Why is that? And quite rare. And I think it's going to be quite rare in a very positive way. Because according to tropical astrology, we're going to have four planets in their own signs or exaltation signs, which means they're very powerful. A planet in its own sign is like a king on its throne. A planet in exaltation is like a celebrity being venerated by everyone. So basically, we're going to have almost till the 20th of April, four planets out of the seven visible planets in their own signs. One of them will be the Sun in Aries. The other one is Saturn in Capricorn. The other one is Jupiter in Sagittarius. The Saturn rules Capricorn, Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and Venus is in Pisces. Here I can write it as well. So usually manifestations happen of the good sort when planets are exalted or in their own sign, because they trigger the highest possible and the best possible results a sign can give. And every sign is situated in different rules, a different area of our lives. I can't go through those four areas for everyone, but just know that this April till the 20th, especially after the new moon, will be fantastic time to start new beginnings, because the ancient book, they say, when four or more planets are in exaltation or their own sign, spectacular people are born, people who are king-like, people who are like saints or who become like kings. What it means is that anything born when there are four or more planets in their own sign or exaltations has this internal intrinsic virtue and value, and gives the best of itself. So whether you're starting a website, a business, a new initiative of some sort, those four exalted or strong planets will make sure it has strong foundations and that it gives the best it can give. But that's why I advise you to start those new beginnings a bit after the new moon. That's from the 7th of April onwards till the 20th, because on the 5th is the new moon, but the moon is dark. And it's always advisable not to start anything when the moon is dark, because the moon symbolizes growth. Even gardeners, they know they garden by the moon, because when the moon starts growing, plants grow much faster. It's the same with our hair and nails, if you pay attention as well. And it's the same way, if you want a venture to grow, you have to have the moon visible and growing. you know so that's why from the 7th of April onwards, that's the end of this week, guys, I give you the green light to go on epic adventures, on epic stories, to initiate big things, to whatever you want to succeed, try it then. Actually, on the 7th and the 8th of April, the moon will also be exalted. So we're going to have five planets exalted. The moon will be in its own, in sign of exaltation in Taurus. And this is the tropical zodiac. The tropical zodiac is the more local zodiac, the more that affects immediate earthly things, whether it's business, whether it's material things, whether it's relationships in life. They're the more outer world, the more outer material things. Well, there is another zodiac which is behind the tropical zodiac, which determines, basically, the tropical is connected to the solstices and equinoxes, is very local, it's seasonal. Behind it are the actual constellations that carry the same names, but they're not aligned, and they tell a deeper story. The constellations, they're whole pictures, and they're not only 12 constellations, they're 70 something constellations, and they all play a role. We'll talk about that. And those constellations, they show what's happening on a soul deep level, on an evolutionary spiritual level within you, what is transmuting in your soul. So we always have to take into consideration those. But we Westerners really like tropical zodiac. Why is that? Because we're practical, we're set in the earth. We want to know, what job, what colors, what food, what partners. This is what the tropical describes. It's very down to earth, the things that interest us. And the sidereal, which is the constellations, is the deep evolutionary story behind it. So yes, if you want to do initiatives, beginnings, or if they're children born till the 20th of April, I think they'll be quite successful in this life. But let's talk. This week is mostly about this new moon. And of course, the Pluto conjunction, the South Node, which is going to be this week most intense, happens once every, 20 something years, 25 or 30 years, something like that. So once in 30 years experience, guys. It's happening simultaneously with this new moon. And we're going to speak what it means. But first, I want to tell you an epic story that's happening in the constellations. This new moon. And by the way, just to let you know that those of you who don't know, you can get 40% off for our predictive course with Victor using ancient methods, classical methods. You need to know your foundations of astrology, house of science, and stuff like that. But it's a 10-week course, and you get 40% off if you subscribe till the 17th of April. And this predictive course is going to be led by me and by Victor, and you can get actually an installment payment as well if you can't afford that. And also wanted to remind you that I have my April written horoscopes out for all 12 signs, 300 pages presentation slides. Some people have printed it out like a book. They say it's a textbook that you can learn astrology from, and they would keep it for the future as a reference book as well. So you can check this one out as well. Soon the May one will be ready as well. All right, so now let's start on this epic mythological story that I told you that is happening in the sky. Well, the new moon is happening right on in the tropical sign of Aries. So powerful new impulse for action will be born for us. From the end of the week, you'll just feel like on fire to go and crack and get something going. And we'll speak about each of the signs where it's going to happen. But there is a much deeper story there than just Aries new moon, which is all about action and new beginnings. The deeper story is told by the constellations that are around this new moon. They're above and below and behind exactly. So the actual constellations, there is a star that this new moon is happening on, and it's called Alpheras, and it's situated in the head of Andromeda. Andromeda, if you know the story, was a maiden, was the daughter of the king and Queen Cassiopeia. And she was chained to a rock. And Andromeda was chained to a rock because of the mistakes of her parents. They boasted that she was more beautiful than the nymphs, and the gods chained her to a rock. And I can show you here how it's indicated. That's where exactly the new moon is happening. Just a second. Ooh, my laptop is a little bit slow. Mercury retrograde hit it. By the way, good news, no more Mercury retrograde. And it went kaput fully, but thankfully my husband, I don't think I'll be able even to share my screen, guys. I'm just grateful that I'm able to do this prediction before the laptop fully dies. Come on then. Is it sharing it? Oh, I think I'm sharing it. Okay. So here is the constellation. This is how Andromeda is depicted. And that's the star Alpheras, which is in her head. And this is a woman chained to a rock. So the theme of this new moon here is as well indicated, or we can show her here. This is Alpheras. This is exactly where the new moon is happening, on the head of Andromeda. And Alpheras is also part of another constellation, Pegasus, which is a horse with wings. We'll speak about that as well. So both those constellations are activated with this new moon for the whole year ahead, basically, because the next time there is a new moon in Aries, next year will be a totally different star that's activated, totally different story here. But for now, the lessons for this month and that are going to unfold, the stories that are going to unfold in everyone's life will revolve around being chained, around being, and I don't want to scare you, but there is actually, it's quite positive. I'm just for starting preparing my story. So Andromeda was chained to a rock. I just wanted to show you quickly what is happening, so you know now how it looks. So she was, and what happens here? She was chained to a rock because of the mistakes of her parents. And think of that. We all are chained to something. We all are blocked in something because, and the star falls in Andromeda's head. So the head is thinking, how we think. So that star indicates, because it's triggered by the new moon, it indicates that there is a trigger of things that have chained us, that have blocked us. What is keeping a woman in chains? What is or a man in chains for that? The Andromeda represents the soul. Because she was innocent, she had no mistake of her own, she had no fault of her own, but her parents did some stupid things, and that's why she was chained. So what happens? We're born innocent souls. We're born pure. And our parents condition us with their behaviors. Our parents drink and smoke, and we start believing and thinking that we'll also be smokers and drinkers. And we say, my parents drank and smoke, I will also do this all my life. So we become bounded, we become slaves, just like Andromeda was, to the mistakes of our parents. So maybe all the women in your family divorced, and you kind of almost have an expectation that marriage is unsustainable and you can never, and it's impossible to stay in relationships for long, or your father cheated on your mom and the same thing repeats now in your relationships, or you keep attracting bad boys, So these are the sins of our parents that we're paying for. They did not harm us on purpose in most cases, unless they're evil, sadists. But in most cases, they were victims of their own mistakes as well, their own ignorance. Out of ignorance, through the ancestry, we get chained to repeating patterns and behaviors that make us blocked, that make us to be, stuck in situations we hate. And actually, I've noticed it in horoscopes of many people that have Andromeda, the constellation, which corresponds with, it's above Aries, tropical Aries and tropical Taurus. So it spreads almost around two signs currently. So people that have some, especially if an important star from Andromeda, like Alpheras or 2-3 other stars that are there, they spread throughout tropical Aries and Taurus. If they have that, a lot of them, like Sun there, Moon there, Ascendant, Venus, ruler of the 7th house, a lot of them might have stories of being bound by it in some way, whether by an addiction, but usually they're bound by some kind of family repeating patterns that they find like they can escape for a long time. They might be bonded in a marriage they're unhappy because they don't have the financial resources. They might be bonded in a, any kind of situation where you feel tied up, where you feel stuck, where you feel like you're tied to a rock. And by the way, she was tied to a rock to be sacrificed for the monster Cetus. There is another constellation underneath Andromeda, which indicates like a sea monster. And that sea monster symbolizes, and anything that is underwater, sea monsters, symbolizes feelings and emotions that are hidden. It symbolizes our subconscious. So Cetus, the monster that's supposed to eat Andromeda, the innocent soul that is tied down that rock because of the sins or the mistakes and ignorance of her parents that she believed, and she put herself in that self-made prison. Always don't blame your parents only. It's, we chose to be born their souls. They fucked us up. Everyone's parents, even if they're saints, they fuck you up in some way. It's through their beliefs, because beliefs always have to grow and have to, incorporate more and more. But this sea monster is our subconscious, and that's what the soul becomes sacrificed to those subconscious fears, to those turbulent feelings, to those basically self-sabotaging behaviors. Sea monsters are that something you don't see, it's huge, you don't understand it, it's under the water, and we're on the surface, we don't know what it is, and you're dying with fear, and that these are the subconscious buried fears and self-sabotaging behaviors that we have. At least that's, I meditated, I thought a lot on that, and that's how I see it, and that's how a lot of Jungian psychologists interpret those constellations as well. So what happens though? She was bounded there, but Perseus hears about her. He's a hero who killed Medusa. Medusa is a constellation close there. Medusa symbolizes another woman, by the way, that suffered because of her own mistake. She made wrong choices sexually. She went and slept with the gods. She was very innocent girl as well, Medusa. And she was Gorgona Medusa. And she was very innocent and beautiful girl, but this horny god seduced her and she succumbed to him. And another goddess saw that, Athena, and got very jealous and turned her head and her hair into snakes. So she became from this beautiful girl, because she made wrong choices with her actions in life. She suffered. She was punished. She was hurt for that. And because of that, she was turned into a monster. And Perseus went and killed her, decapitated, and anyone who looked at her turned into stone. So that's us again. Medusa symbolizes us on a level where we go and sin, or we make mistakes, and we're ashamed from them. We're ashamed. We start innocent, like she was beautiful, pure souls. But now we go and make mistakes on our own, not just because of our parents, like Andromeda did. And we get shamed, and you said, or you're ugly, you're stupid, you're fat. Maybe someone was constantly putting you down, or whatever. You made a mistake in relationship. That's what, Gorgona Medusa did. And she suffered as a monster, to be turned into a monster. But Perseus goes and kills her and cuts her head. And out of her head, when he cuts it, out of the spurts of, that's how they present it, of the blood that's coming out there, comes out a Pegasus, comes out a horse with wings. They're very vivid in mythology. I love it. What it symbolizes, the Pegasus is the other. So why am I telling you the story? Because Pegasus and Andromeda, just like I showed you, they share the star Alpharaz. So the story of both of them had to be told. When I prayed and meditated, the dream that appeared, and I was told, show that both stories for people to understand. And Pegasus symbolizes the winged horse. Let me screen share with you again. Entire screen. Are you seeing that? I don't know if you're seeing it. Yes, so here it is. I hope you are seeing it. Here it is. You see Andromeda, the head, the star Alpharaz is part of Andromeda and part of Pegasus. They share that star. That's the only star that I know in the sky that's shared by two constellations, because their story is connected. Because Pegasus, once he escapes from the head of the Medusa, Perseus, that kills the Medusa, takes Pegasus and goes and saves Andromeda on the wings of Pegasus. So Pegasus, together with Perseus, is a savior of Andromeda. So how do we tie in this story? So they're the same. Alpharaz, the star, the head of the Medusa, the head of the Andromeda that is being activated by this new moon, is also the star that symbolizes the flying horse Pegasus. That flying horse is a symbol of freedom. It's a symbol of purity, of freedom, of Pegasus comes from the word to spring, which means to gush forward. He gushed forward from the head of the Medusa. And Pegasus is known as horse of inspiration. He went and dug with his hooves a spring which came through water from the earth, and the 9 nymphs of inspiration went there, because everyone who drank from that spring would receive inspiration, to write poetry, artistic inspiration. So Pegasus is basically, once we kill the monster within ourselves, once, and we don't kill that monster, we heal it. They're more graphic. But that's the Medusa. We were innocent, we did something wrong, or what society would call wrong. We were shamed, we were turned to hate ourselves, we were told we were not worthy, we were told something, everyone has had such a story. As everyone has been felt to feel like a monster in some area in their life, to feel ugly, to feel undeserving, just like Medusa hated herself when she was turned into the monster. And she became so full of, she was from this kind girl, she became this kind of vindictive, angry girl, because she felt she was punished so severely, and because she hated herself for that as well. And what happens is that Pegasus comes, the hero, cuts her head. It's a symbolic, indication of we're able to overcome those, out of this shame, out of this pain, out of this monstrosity we feel in us, springs out, once it's cleared up, springs out the horse Pegasus of inspiration that turns into artistic, creative inspiration that flies off, that liberates you from this sense of self monstrosity, or self of, that you're dirty, you're not worthy, you're not deserving. And Pegasus goes and saves Andromeda, the other innocent soul. So it's almost like some growth is happening on an internal level, guys. This new moon is triggering for us to recognize where we've been shamed, where we've been made to feel ugly. And we spring out of there. This new moon allows this Pegasus horse to start something from us, some inspiration to come to us. And this Pegasus horse goes and saves that innocent, retrieves parts of our soul out, call it, which is Andromeda, that innocent. She's still innocent, she hasn't sinned in anything. So there are parts of us, when we sin, when we make mistakes, I wouldn't call it sinning, but something that hurts your soul, or someone abused you, someone hurt you. Andromeda never hurt anyone. Her parents wronged her. They tied her there because the gods got angry at them, and they said, you tie her, we destroy your whole kingdom, because the parents did mistakes. So because something we compartmentalize pieces of us. Your parent shouted at you, left you, your father left you. Part of you, when you're a child, you don't understand it, you lock it. And they say it's like your soul shatters into pieces and it stays in different timelines. So you start feeling unwhole. That's why you feel so stuck, because you don't have all the power of your soul with you. Because at 5, maybe something happened. At 10, you got bullied at school. At 12, your mom and dad got divorced. At 16, something else, that comes from the family, from the ancestry, and that made you, that fragmented your soul, and that made you like, tied you to that rock, and you became chained. You became a chained woman. Some situation in your lives, they fragmented you, they weakened you, but they stayed there locked in that time. So what happens is that Pegasus, you start after that transmuting when you're older. You start transmuting that ugliness in you, those painful feelings symbolized by Gorgona, Medusa, and you start killing one by one those feelings of shame, of guilt, of unworthiness that are connected to Medusa. And Medusa Gorgona rules addictions, by the way. It's called Algol, the star that is of Medusa Gorgona. Algol, alcohol. The word alcohol comes from alcohol, Algol, alcohol. So the bad spirit, it's known. So, I mean, a lot of addictions comes because of being shamed, because we do the wrong things by ignorance, usually, just like Medusa made a wrong relationship choice. And the pain that we suffer, the shaming that we suffer from that, the hurt that we suffer from that, the punishment from that pushes us to addictions and stuff. But once we start healing, once we understand those things and start healing and forgiving and moving on, this spring of the horse of Pegasus comes, and it wants to retrieve those missing parts to go and save Andromeda, our innocent soul that has been fragmented from childhood into parts. And it goes back because it goes back to Andromeda and saves her. So Andromeda, it's a story of Andromeda. First, a story of suffering, being chained and bounded, and suffering unfairly for the mistakes of your parents. And so that's our upbringing, and that's our ancestral patterns, and that's our, you know, painful memories of some sort that chain you, and subconscious fears, the animal, the sea monster Citrus that's waiting to eat Andromeda, but Andromeda gets saved thanks to Medusa Gorgona, thanks to us killing a lot of our feelings of shame, of guilt, of painful feelings of Gorgona Medusa carried a lot of resentment and bitterness that she was turned into monster because she was seduced by the bad god, but she was turned into a monster. So a lot of, by killing those feelings of resentments, of, I mean, it's releasing them, not killing them. Basically, Pegasus was released from the head of the Gorgona, was transmuted. So those ugly feelings that we carry, and we are right to carry them. We're not gods to be above them. We cannot, when we can't process them, you carry them like resentment and pain. But what happens is currently something is happening in the sky. This new moon is indicating that there is this transformation. And this horse Pegasus is, which is a new inspiring actions, new inspirations, new ideas. Horse, like, they, even poets say, I am on my horse today, or writers, so they have an inspiration to write. Ideas are coming. So this new moon is symbolizing new ideas, new impetus of inspiration will come into you because of us forgiving the old, the releasing the old pain, like Medusa did. Like Medusa was, killed for Pegasus to come out, this bitterness and the ugliness in us. We're releasing that, and Pegasus will go and save Andromeda, the little child fragmented soul. And it's ultimately a story of love. Love wins. Love conquers everything because they got together, Andromeda and Perseus, thanks to the horse Pegasus that helped him save her. And this is what the new moon is all about. So it's an area of your life you've been chained. Where are you a chained woman? Where are you a woman in distress? Where you're totally vulnerable and exposed to the monster? Where do you feel you have no control? Well, something new, inspiration is being born now. Pieces of your soul are being healed and retrieved back, and you'll be freed. Pegasus and Perseus will free you guys. And I want you to carry that vivid image in your soul and heart, because the whole month is under this influence. And all those exalted planets that we talked about in their own sign will help you initiate even new actions that you start, have really positive, long-lasting influences that can have this deeply psychological, transformational, and healing influence. I believe that many of you, after this new moon, if they in tune with what's happening within them, with what's happening externally, many of you will have released and been released from something, and new inspirations will flow. And not only that, but this new moon corresponds and carries the energy, because it's happening simultaneously, as the powerful Pluto South Node conjunction in Capricorn. Actually, the new moon squares it. To square means to channel, to challenge. The square aspect, to challenge. Square also indicates action. Some crisis happen and we act. So what is happening? The Pluto conjunct South Node. Ksenia made a wonderful video about that. Watch it. It was last week video. It's really, really powerful, because she actually says that the things we're releasing often are in the house where Pluto and the South Node are natally in our horoscope. And I speak in my monthly horoscope for April about this Pluto Saturn and South Node conjunction. I'm not going to speak for each sign about this one, guys. I have it in the monthly videos. Check them out. I speak about each sign individually. What are you going to be taking apart? Again, this is happening once in 30 years, this conjunction. And Pluto is about self-destroying, to destroy something, self-destructive patterns. The South Node is to release such self-destructing patterns. So something that we've had, the self-destructive patterns, I would consider Pluto like the Gorgona Medusa. It's aligning with that theme again. Pluto is like those self-destructive, and Gorgona Medusa got so hurt that she wanted to kill everyone. She was She would not want people, don't look at me. She was like, look at me, I'm gonna kill you. Now it's turned into a monster and I'm gonna hurt you back. Just like when we get hurt, we instinctively want to hurt back. And we can get embittered and do it. So the same way Pluto is those tremors that really hurt us and that are festering and that are poisoning our blood constantly. And the South Node wants, it's something, it's the dragon's tail. It wants to excrete. The dragon's tail is where, you know, feces come out of. So it wants to, and being in Capricorn, these are old structures, things that we've held on to. Capricorn also rules the things that hurt us, misery, you know, things that make us feel not enough, that chain us to, again, to a rock. Capricorn rules rocks. So we're seeing two similar stories, one through the constellations, emphasized by this new moon, the other ones by the planets. And we're trying to excrete those kind of painful things to break the chains of this rock of that Pluto is tied us to through past traumas. Plus, we can look at it from another way as well. Pluto is on a higher level, is big transformation. Ketu is our past lifetimes, or if you don't believe in past lifetimes, everything, all past memories. Ketu is our security paradigm, again, where we are holding on for dear life because it feels familiar, even though it might be painful. Just like the wife who might be staying in abusive relationships because she doesn't know what the future is, and it's at least is familiar. You know, the lesser evil is the non-evil, as they say, which is not true. You know, so Pluto at the same time wants to transform and to totally transform those security paradigms that are making us stuck, not to get out of our shelf. So you see, the same two themes are applying. So something is being destroyed and excreted and released that has been blocking us here. And it puts us into action. This new moon puts us into actions to really get this moving. This new moon that falls on the star Alpheras, that's part of Pegasus, the horse of inspiration. So out of that pain come inspirations and pushes us to dismantle this month till the end. This month, actually, maybe till the next new moon, which is in May, to dismantle some area of our life that's all long overdue, that's been holding us hostages. And we have to free Andromeda, our soul. We have to free our, you know, our innocent soul, and we have to finish with a happy love story of reunion of your soul parts together, strengthening yourself, becoming free, or actual happy love story. For some people, it can indicate that. And actually, this is what I've seen so many times in horoscopes of people that have Andromeda. As I said, a lot of Aries and Taurus do that, whether Aries, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or Venus, or Taurus, that they have this story of being in bondage at some part of their life, whether it's by addiction or ancestral things or a bad relationship, being very stuck. And then it ends with a very happy, after sometimes might be many years, maybe in their 40s, 50s, but ends with a very happy love story. And but they go through this bondage period. So if you're one of those people, have hope, because Andromeda will be released by Perseus and by Pegasus, the horse of inspiration. Out of the suffering that you went through, this inspiration comes, you know. But now, and because Alpheratz, the star that's happening, it's in the head of Andromeda, some new idea comes into your head. You see things from a new point of view, and this is what breaks the shackles. It's not some prince on a white horse. I wish it for you if it is, that will come and save us. What will happen? The prince on the white horse, on the Pegasus, will come, but first we'll change our thinking. First we'll change that Alpheras, the stars that's being triggered, and this month it's happening, is being so powerfully triggered by the new moon, new beginning. So new ideas will start springing from us that make you see some situation that you've been stuck in for life, or many lives, or years, from a different perspective. And it will shift your consciousness in such a way that you take actions. Aries, now we're talking the tropical zodiac, will take inspired, excited actions in the sign of Aries that will allow you to really release yourself from that bondage, to unstuck yourself from the situation. And For some people, let's very quickly say about each sign, because I didn't want to make this weekly so much about, each sign individually. I wanted you to hear the whole story because it's happening collectively from everyone, and better than me giving you general horoscopes for each sign where you are stuck in your life. And this is the month where a big shift can happen. And by the way, Terry, I don't know if you know her, she works with us. She does also videos here. She's doing a channeling, angelic channeling. She works with entities and angel messages she gets about the Pluto Saturn South Node conjunction that's happening in May. And she's gonna have a channeled message of 30 minutes for you. I think it's 40% off if you book for the next 10 days or something like that. And she's gonna have a channel message from you, from the from angels and guardian angels, and invisible entities that take care of us, about what it is you need to release or how to do it, specific information and advice. So check out that service, guys. Of course, I have to advertise it because it's so aligned. I want people to do the work that is indicated by the stars, because it's so much easier. If you're trying to stop smoking, for example, on a growing moon, when it's in a sign that is all about appetites, it's not going to happen, or you're going to have so much hard time. If you're trying to stop smoking on a moon that is decreasing and that is in a sign connected to a releasing of attachments to the physical and the material, you'll be like, it happened so easy. And that's why anything that you undertake, when it's aligned with the story of the stars and the constellations and the signs, it can go. Why do you want to go paddle upstream? So now is time for releasing, go with that. So if you need a consultation and advice how to do it, how to release yourself and start new beginnings, you're releasing the past, you're cleaning the past, you're cleaning the bondage, the stuck situation, you're springing forward like Pegasus with new ideas and inspirations. And for Aries, it's their own actions. For Aries, this is the whole story that I talk. This is what's happening for your Aries. This new beginnings, anything that I talk till now, watch the previous video, it's for you. For Taurus, it's happening on the subconscious level that those new inspirations will come. They can come to them from their visions, from their sleep, that can help them release them from things that are keeping them stuck and transform their life. It's going to come even from a foreign country, or it can come through some trip they take far away, or from mystical literature, or from some hidden support, or some psychological work behind the scenes, or some kind of meditations, visualizations. But this is imagination. The imagination can take them on a new journey. For Gemini, it can come, the spirit of action, it can come as a result of new ambitions and goals that you have for yourself, and dreams and wishes. New dream comes, the 11th house. New moon, new dreams, a new goal that you start working towards, and especially socio-economic goals. And if you've been stuck in some socio-economic situation, whether with the wrong friendships or with a situation where you're not getting paid enough, 11th house is how much you get paid, or with the wrong goals and ideals, you can get yourself unstuck from it and start in a new direction now. For Cancer is in the 10th house, this new moon. So, and actually this is happening in the 7th. So there are big changes happening in their relationships, releasing and stuff like that. But something will happen now this month that it's in regards to 10th house rules your own actions and your career and your ambitions that will unlock these new ambitions that maybe if they were stuck in their career, if they were stuck in their worldly success, if they were stuck in their actions, because as we said, it's happening on the star of being stuck, Andromeda, the chain girl that's going to be released from those chains. Well, you're going to be released in some way. Some new ideas will come to you to unstuck you from a stuck career situation. And actually, they'll help you shift and release something to do with relationships as well. For Leo, it's in the 9th house. Their belief systems are totally new impulse is happening. New impulse to see things from a very different perspective. This new moon is triggering it. New opportunities to travel, new opportunities to study, new opportunities, new inspirations. The 9th house is new inspirations for the future, new ideas, something to study. And that's gonna, especially if you've been stuck with inspirations and or ability to travel and stuff like that, you'll be released. Or if you've been stuck with the wrong belief systems or very limiting belief system, like the star of like Andromeda that was chained, there will be a releasing of that. that is happening. And by the way, some big transformation is happening in your health habits as well. But somehow your belief systems might be shifting. New belief systems that you're changing the old, moving towards new, that might shift your whole work, your sixth house, and attitude towards health as well. For Virgo, it's happening in their eighth house. So there is a new beginning that's happening in regards to if they felt stuck in intimacy, if they felt stuck in trusting people, if they felt stuck with the wrong beliefs and ideas in regards to what they can receive from the universe. The eighth house is what others give us, what we feel deserving to receive from others. If you've been stuck in receiving help from others, or maybe you're not getting paid by your clients, or maybe other people's resource, or maybe your husband has been stuck, or partner in finances and resources, you can unstuck yourself with new ideas now that spring from this inspiration, the horse of Pegasus, the star Alpha, that releases Andromeda from her bondage. So some sexual blockages can be released, some stuck situations that are connected with alimonies, other people's resources, insurances, inheritances, and such. If you're Libra, then it's happening in your seventh house, this new moon. There is renewal and new inspirations that's coming in regards to your relationships. There can be some new beginnings there. And actually, a partner or another person can help you go through big transformations that are actually happening in your fourth house, family, releasing yourself from past karmic family patterns. But if you felt stuck in relationships because the new moon falls on the star of bondage, Andromeda in the constellation, some bondage of being stuck in relationship, or maybe it might have been for a short time that your relationship just felt stagnant or something. Now there is a new spurt and inspiration that can liberate you from that and enliven you in regards to matters connected to relationships, in matters connected to contracts and agreements, in business deals, and in important relationship decisions. And especially they can be a change and shift of perspective. Andromeda, the star in the head of the Andromeda that is illuminated, which is, you're gonna find out. And by the way, the moon becomes visible in the star of Cassiopeia, the mother of Andromeda, the one that Andromeda was chained for. So you can become aware of what is chaining you, the reasons, how your family programmed you in some way to create some relationship problems or relationship repeating patterns for you. But there'll be some insight that comes to you, or maybe a help through an advisor or a consultant of some sort, other people who helps you see where you're stuck and help you through that, especially in regards to relationships. And talking about that, I wanted to say that next week I'll present you the best relationship therapist in the world that I know. This has been my dream since about 7 years, to know this woman. Little did I know that she would want to collaborate with me. And this is my idol. Everyone has an idol. I have an idol. That's her. I wake up and fall to sleep with her videos. So she transformed my life in regards to relationship. I'm so excited. So yes, insights in regards to relationships, refreshment, new ideas that are coming. So if you're Scorpio, the new moon falls in your sixth house. There can be some powerful new beginnings in regards to your work, in regards to your situations connected to health. And like you can almost get like an inspiration. And if you've been chained, if you've had some health, if you've been chained to some habits, sixth house rules also habits that chain us to a health problem, whether it's overeating, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, whether it's some addiction of some sort, is the sixth house. How we self-remedy. If you've been stuck in some situation, if you've been in some self-made prison, there will be a powerful release, or family that stems from family or how you are raised. There can be a powerful release, and new moon is about new inspiration that comes to push you into action, to release you from that, seeing it from a different perspective. And also in regards to your work, have you been stuck in your work, Scorpio, with some unpleasant situation or toxic situation that feels limiting? Well, now something can shift. And by the way, because the third house is also shifting your whole social environment around you is shifting, and that is connected to the work as well. But something is changing in your mind to release you from a blockage connected to health issues, connected to addiction, connected to debt. If you have debt, if you're in strong debt, Scorpio, that can be a time or an idea or possibility that appears over the next few weeks that helps you move away from it, that liberates you. The love story ends positively for Andromeda. She was chained, you were in bondage to something, but this new moon can help you the way out, can show you the way out of that bondage, whether it's to health, to work, through uh, um, addictions. If you're Sagittarius, this new moon is happening in your fifth house, where you're stuck in your love life, where you're suffering because of repeating patterns that you've inherited from family. Just like Andromeda did, she was punished for the sins of her mother. Well, now something will illuminate your head. Something will happen that can shift those patterns that you are stuck in regards to your love life, repeating patterns, so it can end with a positive love story. Hopefully, there can be a shifting, and hopefully, this amazing best therapist in relationships that I'm bringing will help us. She's doing a free seminar, a free webinar on my birthday. That would be the biggest event for me this year. But yes, when it comes to the fifth house, your this new moon will illuminate you, will kind of give you, will put the seeds. Sorry, new moon is, doesn't it kind of put the seeds of a big transformation that's going to happen in regards to your attitude to love, in regards to your attitude to creativity. If you've been stuck in creativity, you know, Andromeda was chained, blocked. If you're stuck in creativity, this can be a time when you get unstuck, when some new ideas come. If you've been blocked to have children, fifth house, or in a relationship with a child, or if your child has been blocked in your Sagittarius, this can be the time when this gets unblocked and released, you know, and liberated. Or if you've been stuck in a love relationship in a painful way, you can either release it or it can lead to a good love relationship at the end. You know, now some important events in regards to that can happen. Or if your love life has been stuck. If you're Capricorn, this new moon is happening in your fourth house. You see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you've been, that's especially important for you, Capricorn, because I mean, you're gonna feel it so strongly this month. You know, this new moon and the whole month ahead, together with the other cardinal signs, Libra, Aries, and Cancer, because it's all happening in cardinal signs. The Pluto South Node. So that's huge, massive karmic release for you, Capricorns. Destruction of of security patterns and paradigms, and dissolution of your whole self, and rebuilding new such, but especially strongly you get some kind of answers, and you get inspiration how to deal with repeating patterns that have been blocking you, that are connected to your family and home, that have you've been stuck with because of mistakes of your parents, or because of how you've been taught from parents. But also it can indicate that something will shift in your family front, with home or property or place of living, that can bring new inspiration towards you, and that can bring help with this transformation that's happening here for you as well. But you can also make some new beginnings in regards to your home, family, place of living now, and they will feel liberating after you've been stuck for a long time. Or maybe you've been stuck just like Andromeda was tied to a rock, not being able, living in a place you don't really like, or not being able to make a renovation in your home, or in some kind of not very happy family situation. Now this new moon can create an opportunity for you to get unstuck and freed from such a situation. If you're Aquarius, rising sun and moon, this new moon is happening in your third house, which is your daily thinking, your daily routines and activities. Well, if you've been stuck somehow in them, if you felt like, oh, your day is like has been like a drag, with so many repetitive routines and things to do, and you've been feeling stuck or kind of in bondage because of those, you have an opportunity now to renew your interest and excitement in everyday life, and to renew your kind of routines there. And not only that, but to get stuck by some repetitive kind of routines of some sort. But also the third house is your thought patterns. So if you've been a bondage to some obsessive thoughts, or thoughts patterns that are binding, that especially stemming from kind of negative and limiting state of mind, like the star Alpheras, the head of, which is exactly in the head of Andromeda, who was bound to a rock. Well, now this will be, you have an opportunity to see it from a different perspective. You're thinking to start shifting this month, guys. And you start noticing that the world around you is also shifting because your thinking is shifting. And your interactions with people, have you been stuck in interactions with coworkers or teammates you're not happy with, or in some situations where you're collaborating, third houses, affiliates, associates, that you're doing something on a small project or small group working together, or that you feel stuck and uninspired. Well, now you can get this inspiration again or renew something there. Or if you're working on some commercial project, like, and third house was business meetings and stuff like that, communications, emails, administrative work, reports. Well, they can be renewal of that. And if you've been stuck, they can be moving forward and liberating from such things and getting new excitement in regards to that. Like also new journeys can happen when there is a new moon in your third house. Um, all right, and there can be also some new commercial projects, new projects that you start that are connected to media, to marketing, that are connected to communication, to training, to teaching. So it's a good time for those after the 7th, from the 7th onwards, Aquarius, and they would help you come. They would help you come from a very unstuck situation, or taking some courses or classes, learning something new that helps you get unstuck. And if you're Pisces, this is happening in your second house, the new moon. Have you been stuck somewhere financially? Are you stuck with financial matters? Or maybe you've got money that are held somewhere and you can't release them. Or maybe you've been just at the same level financially, or you have some limiting beliefs that have made you a prisoner due to how your family raised you, or what because that's what Andromeda, she suffered for the sins of her family, for the mistakes of her family. Well, something can happen now to give you new inspiration, how you look at resources and finances, to liberate you from those limiting circumstances, new ideas. They can be like a new financial opportunity that comes, or that you attract something, that something is shifting in your head, just like the star Alpheras is in the head of Andromeda. Something is shifting in your thinking, and you take new actions through the new moon in Aries that allows you to be unchained from those limiting financial resources situations. The second house is self-worth. Does something change you to make you feel unworthy? Are you feeling unworthy of something? How much you're worth as payment or salary or whatever. If you've been stuck in one similar pattern, now there'll be a renewal of that, what you think it's possible. So thank you so much, guys. I hope, yes, the predictions were much shorter, but I hope you listened to the previous part, because it just became so vivid to me in my rumination and meditation when I put the map in front of me, and I just, this whole story became alive. And it was like it started moving, and it was, this is what's happening now. Align with that, because there will be so much. If you want to be Andromeda that gets saved by the prince on a white horse, um, this is the time when it's happening. I mean, the prince on a white horse is your, as I said, is your own inspiration, and it can come actually from others as well. But something is shifting, and it's in the skies. It's happening. It's indicated there, so it's happening here too. And because of this, on the 7th, I'm gonna present to you, as I said, my idol. This is a dream, one of the biggest dreams come true for me. The person that I respect the most, it's a woman, and she's gonna start working with us, and she'll be doing free seminars and paid ones. She was the one that transformed my life, and she heals wounds. She heals. She's a psychologist and therapist, but she uses occult means as well, and she heals family traumas. She heals. She's a relationship therapist and abundance coach, and she's a PhD basically. And she just transformed my life with a 4-hour workshop. Within a month, I met my husband after that. I broke through shackles of unhappy life situation that I've been in many years. And I broke the shackles of a negative body image that I had. I could never look at myself naked. I had big, no, even though I have a great body, but this happened in one training with her. And This woman has changed the life of 30,000 people. Everyone in Eastern Europe knows her, in Bulgaria as well. Every woman follows her. And I'm going to bring her wisdom here. So I'm so excited. Check out on the 7th of April and on the 14th of April, on my birthday, there'll be a live show with her. Not show, a live webinar. She'll give you a preview of what she does. And we'll have a paid one now, much more in depth, on the 27th or something like that. So looking forward. This is a week, this month actually, from the new moon onwards, is a month of removing shackles. And if you're a woman in bondage in some area of your life, we're starting this process. And it's funny, I did not even know where the new moon was when this was arranged with this lady that I'm talking to you about. And when I saw the new moon and its connotations, I was like, oh my God, how symbolic, how true it is. We're going to break down shackles from this month that tied us to family patterns, to limitations. And this new moon is exactly when it happens that I'm announcing this lady. So the biggest shackle breaker that I know in the world. So anyway, thank you so much and have a fantastic week.